First, let's just go straight ahead and ask the two of you, how ready are you for the party primaries? I know you've been in meetings all day today, this week. So how ready are you now? Andrew?
Asha, I'll go first on that one. We've not been in meetings all day. We've been in meetings from last year. This process, as you see it now, is a culmination of a lot of planning. Everything from logistics to security to the nominations process to your party membership, all that has had to be planned.
Right.
There is no political party, I believe, and definitely not Jubilee, that would start planning for such a process at this stage.
But I mean, so, let me ask you something. Jubilee confirmed their National Elections Board really late in the game.
Yes.
I think even last month, 1st of March, we didn't know who was chairing the Elections Board.
True.
So if aspirants come and say, we're not really sure if the process has been planned properly, what would you say?
The Jubilee Secretariat was not born yesterday. Don't forget that an elections board is like a board in any corporate structure. They oversee a process. And what the board does ultimately is to run a neutral, arbitral role through the nominations.
So the Secretariat
but there are operational issues.
Right.
And believe you me, as a board, you don't go granular on operational issues. Operational issues are sorted out at Secretariat level. If any party is waiting for the 9 members of the board, like in our case, to run and decide who's going to do what on the ground to every last detail, you're preparing yourself for failure.
Right.
And that is one thing I can assure you. We are as ready as we will ever be because we put the ducks in a row through a secretariat and a party structure up to this date.
During this conversation, he will hear the nitty-gritties. We don't want us to hear we are ready.
It depends on how long your show is, because if
the planning is that intricate.
Yes, it is very intricate.
Okay, Mrs. Pareno, ODM.
Yes.
Are you ready for the primaries? In fact, you're kicking off in
a day's time.
In 1 day, yeah.
We are ready. You know, this is a party that started doing its election 6 months to the deadline that has been given by political parties. By the IBC for political parties. The board reconstituted and restructured well around October last year. We started receiving applications from 1st of November of last year. And we closed for some of the applications by 10th of January. And around end of March is when we completely closed. So we have in place about 5,000 applicants who have passed through the vetting exercise, which we did in December and January this year. And then after that, we have been able to set county election committees in each of the counties where we have a lot of activity. As we speak now, in each county, I have a county election committee. In each constituency, about 170 constituencies, we have constituency election panels, and all of them have since been trained and they are on ground.
But that's impressive. I want to ask you this. I don't know if you saw this update, that today there are some aspirants who are not even confident in ODM's process. They claim that some clerks have been paid to favor some aspirants, and they want to boycott the process.
There are issues that normally arise with this kind of an activity. I'm talking about almost 5,000 applicants. It is a big party, it is a big exercise. So definitely, along with such a big exercise, you expect a friction here and there, where you have so many children. So we are addressing those issues as they come by, and I'm sure that we are ready. Like now, we are starting Bungoma, Busia, and Machakos on 13th, which is the day after tomorrow. And on Saturday, we are going to do Turkana, Narok, Kakamega, and Samburu. And everything is on ground as we speak.
Right. So that's the you're a political analyst. You've been observing from the sidelines. What do you think there are any concerns at this stage? Some red flags that political parties should be looking out for?
Actually, they are very serious issues. Wanjiko is asking the following questions to the two multi-ethnic and humongous parties. One, do they have party members? Can they prove they have valid party members that belong to ODM or to Jubilee? Is there a register? Two, how are they going to deal with the question of violence? We've already seen one person dead Busia. How many are they who are going to die? How many citizens are going to lose their lives because of the inefficiency of the parties? Free.
Then, okay, let's start with the party members. Do you know the number of party members that you have?
We have close to 8 million people on our party register.
8 million.
Don't forget, Jubilee started through the merger of several very big political parties with a national footprint. When those registers were collapsed into one at the time of the birth of Jubilee, it was a mammoth exercise. Not only do we have a register, we have a fully segregated register.
So
fully
how
segregated.
How are you
in the sense
going
that,
to make sure that
yes,
during the primaries, it's the party members that vote or that are involved in the process, and you don't have outsiders?
your
coming in?
biblical document in a political party, we believe at Jubilee, is your party register.
Right.
If it is collapsed and fully segregated, what you have is segregation to the point of a polling station. If you come to the polling station and we know you are a member of Jubilee, you will be on the register. The second thing that happened when Jubilee was recruiting members is they were getting immediate electronic confirmation of their membership on their phones. That confirmation has a code.
Well.
It has a
Is
code.
that being used
We
in
even
this
escalated beyond the smart card, because what happened is when you realize, and our opponents did this,
right,
they went in and people went and started purchasing cards. Now what we did is we said the best way of managing your primaries is to make sure you have your register and or somebody has the electronic confirmation of their membership as an individual in Jubilee. So woe betide anybody who went to try and infiltrate the process by trying to use the smart card route, because I have to say that was not a very smart move at this stage because of the electronic backup confirmation.
So you made mistakes,
so Asha,
is that what you're saying?
No, it was not a mistake.
Yeah.
It was done with the best of intentions to get a smart card and try and further digitize the process.
But it didn't work out.
But it has worked out because we had an electronic backup. So that is a two-tier process that will allow us to have vetting on the day. And you realize our primaries, unlike others, are collapsed into one day. The big day is April 21st.
We'd want to actually hear how you're going to
we will be running the process on one day purely because of that very register that I've told you about. It allows us to do a shotgun nomination.
Fair enough. Before we even hear from ODM about their party members, let me bring in Charlo Mbobu, who is the chairperson of the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Good evening.
So what's your role in the nominations process? Where do you come in?
We come in and our expanded jurisdiction as a tribunal because Parliament last year placed the disputes that arise from the political party primaries under the jurisdiction of the tribunal. So any differences that may erupt between either candidates or a candidate and their political party on the manner in which they are treated in the course of the political party primary process, those disputes must come before our tribunal for resolution. Now, it's important to emphasize at this very early stage that we have a requirement in the law that whoever comes to approach the tribunal arising from a problem with the party primaries must also satisfy the tribunal that the matter has been referred to the party's internal dispute resolution mechanism for purposes of, an internal solution being found.
Like currently, before the primaries begin, are you receiving any complaints from aspirants?
Yes, they are the usual problems that people have in political parties. As you know, they say, what do they say about the chondo and many?
I don't know, what do they say?
Many eggs in one basket.
Okay.
They want to be
must spread their risks.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mrs. Pareno, ODM, the party members, initially, historically we've seen that there's no trust in the list of party members that ODM has. What is so different about 2017?
We have over the years had a register of members. This is not a party that was born yesterday.
Right.
This is a party that has been in existence. So we have had registration over the years. What we have done is simply to ensure that we have all that data and fresh registration, and we have quite a
So how many party
registrations.
members do you have? for
We have,
instance?
I think, over 6 million in
6
terms
million.
of the collections that we've been able to.
You didn't just guess that number?
No,
Really, Aisha,
I didn't.
the question I'm
I
asking-
know that the register is there. I know that the last time I checked, it was about that number.
Understand.
The issue that Kenyans are asking, it is public knowledge that the two parties plus other parties went to M-Pesa kiosks, picked names of citizens of this nation, and claimed they have parties, they have members. Why haven't they published these lists? Article 10 of the Constitution provides for transparency. IBC will publish its register of all the registered voters days before, almost 90 days before, for people to peruse. They are going for elections tomorrow.
Yes.
The register is not a public document. So the question we are asking, when somebody walks to that polling booth and finds his name is not there, have you followed the rules of natural justice?
Mrs. Pagano,
Number two,
what happens
let
if
me
you
have-
haven't published the
Yes.
list?
Both
How
of them.
do we verify that it's actually party members voting?
I don't know what you mean by publishing, because to us, if you supply the list to your members,
Yes.
then you have published it. I don't know whether it was meant to be for everybody else's publication, but as far as I'm concerned, our members have access to the register. As they approach each polling station the day after tomorrow, they will find a register. In
How
each
did you
polling
register the
And
members, for instance? Did
we-
people come to register physically, or
We had a short code, we had physical, we had three short code, SMS,
Right.
message, whatever system, and we also had an app, and we also had physical registration where they filled in forms and it was brought. And we were uploading directly to the register of political parties, and they were cross-checking and returning to us after cleanup. So we have a register, and our members will find registers in the polling stations. Check the day after tomorrow, you'll find for
so if
registers.
Thursday we hear of allegations that people were voting for aspirants and they were not party members, people infiltrated the process, because this has happened before. Even in 2013 it happened. What will you say to that?
For me, I don't expect that. I expect our members to turn out and come and vote knowing that they are members. Those who will try to infiltrate will be able to know.
And what about the issue of, remember we had the men in black? That issue of security.
You've not always had men in black. You only had men in black in that Kasarani
But
issue.
it's really
This
disrupted
party
a
has
critical
been doing
process
elections.
for your party.
We are the only party that has really been doing elections. Just last year, I did grassroots elections all over the country. Did you see men in black? They were not there. Did elections the whole of August the other year until finished around January, February last year. We have structures in place. You did not see anything that is called men in black. You only saw men in black in Kasarani. So we are a party that has been used to. I have been in this board. In 2008, I did grassroots elections all over the country. Did you see men in black? No. In 2010, repeated grassroots elections all over the country. And in 2016, repeated grassroots elections all over the country.
Actually-
So it is not like we do one men in black and then it is men in black all over.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Msengi, you're being told that you don't have a party really. You've not done elections, you know. You grabbed an M-Pesa list and named them your party members. Or do you agree?
I didn't think he was talking about Jubilee there because it sounded very foreign to me, the whole statement about M-Pesa lists. I started off, in fact, and I'm repeating myself, Jubilee is a marriage of very many political parties.
Young parties,
established
though.
political
When
parties.
were they established,
that
though?
URP was there in the last election. TNA was
So- so
there.
it's 5
All
years.
of these parties, yes.
So in 5
call
years
them
we're
young.
able to
I
get
mean, I
about
guess
8
if you say
million
relative
members.
to Kanu, everybody's young because that's the Independence Party. But the easiest thing about managing and publication of lists is everybody has to understand these party member registers have to be submitted to IEBC and the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. Without that, you can't even start to have a primary. And if you show up with an M-Pesa list, you think you're going to get it from the M-Pesa shop. Who has an M-Pesa list and M-Pesa shops? What you have are transactions that have taken place. The only party that knows
But I
everybody
mean, you have names
in
of
M-Pesa.
people and their identity
Yes.
cards, so it's very
So you're
easy
going
to
to
list
start
them.
picking
And
names and ID cards.
So
and
that
then you
hasn't
start
happened.
calling those people your members. Think about it, Asha. If I'm running Jubilee elections, do I want to fish names from M-Pesa to allow infiltration of my own process? Does that make sense?
Definitely
That's
not.
actually shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that the people who are coming to your primaries are genuinely your members and have the party interests at heart. What is the point of me going to pick an M-Pesa list and then I complain my primary was infiltrated by my competitor? Does that make sense? Even Mrs. Pareno would not be as careless as to do that.
Could I perhaps
Yes.
ask you
Yes.
to take us through the process? How are you going to conduct the primaries? I mean, to a layman, to an ordinary Kenyan sitting at home, I want to know, are they going to vote? Do you have ballot boxes? Is it secret ballot? What is it? Mrs. Pareno, how is ODM going to conduct
we
it?
have been on record that according to our nomination rules, we go by the rules. We are going to do secret ballot. You remember there was some group in Kwale that was saying we want to do Mlolongo. I came out very strongly. We are not going to do any other business other than by secret ballot. And we expect our members to come out with their IDs for identification. You are identified by ID and by the register. Then you have your ballot and the box for you to be able to participate.
Okay, and what about Jubilee?
Let me walk you through it. Our logistics plan, first of all, involves getting ballot papers and ballot boxes to the site of polling by latest 6 a.m. on the day.
On
of
Friday,
the
this
nominations.
Friday?
Yes, they will be on site. There is a detailed plan to move 65,000 ballot boxes to the relevant stations. Secondly, we will not use any other polling stations other than the gazetted ones by IEBC. There has been talk of merging them and consolidating them, and we said no, we don't want any element of bias. Wherever there's a political competition, if it is an award, every polling station the IEBC has in that ward shall be used by Jubilee for their nomination.
And you have the manpower to handle that?
We have the manpower deployed,
Ms. Pereira is not
identified
convinced.
to that
She's
point.
not very convinced.
Secondly, please note.
I don't know where they get that money
I don't expect anybody to be convinced, but let me tell you, Asha, we are dealing with a very big machine that is handling a big process.
It's a big
and there's
financial.
no two ways.
It's a big
There's
financial
no two
commitment
ways.
as well.
It is.
Where's the money
but
coming
what you
from?
have to do, remember, you are running a party.
Yes.
You've recruited members. Those 8 million people didn't walk into Jubilee just like that. Our aspirants paid for their tickets. And I'll tell you something else. When you talk about things like ballot boxes and what have you, you are not reinventing the wheel with such things. These are not new things. They've been done before. What we have to do is make sure all you do is filter out areas where there's no competition. If you end up in a place where you've received only one nominee, why are you taking ballot boxes then? Deploy them where they are
But
needed.
your party as well.
You must get them to the site.
Fair enough.
Yes.
You have this process. You're
Yes.
painting a really rosy picture of the nomination
I'm very
process
bullish
according
about
to.
it. I'm very
You're very
bullish about
confident.
it.
But let me ask you this:
Yes.
there were allegations of bribery
Yes,
at Jubilee.
Absolutely.
You had to fire a couple of people.
I had them.
So it's already looking like there's trouble in paradise.
By the way, I'm never saying there's never going to be attempts to hijack our process. And where they come from, let us not speculate. But let me share something with you. People have even talked to us about somebody already has printed ballot papers. It makes me laugh because I say that person then, they'd better be on an aeroplane going to where the printer is sitting. Because if you're telling me you came from River Road and you think you know what the ballot papers look like, you think you know the security features, I smile only because I hear such things and I smile because I think you are sorely mistaken.
But if someone
Yes.
hears that there's been bribery claims, it means that your system or your people have been infiltrated.
How do you think we catch the process? By the way, let me assure you, I've even seen people storm ODM house trying to look for ballot papers. These issues will be there. We are running a big process. But what you do is you put in mechanisms to catch them, number one, and it's called nipping it in the bud. If somebody was already nailed last week and they were dealt with administratively, within the party, I consider even that a success because and we are learning. Nominations is a continuously improving process. We have learned from issues that arose in 2013 that next time, don't do things this way. Next time, have a 3-tier check instead of just a 1-tier check. For example, even on nomination papers, there's a 3-tier check. That's how you know immediately. And we're telling people, even our aspirants in Jubilee, do not make the mistake of paying anybody for anything to help your nominations, it will be a waste of your time.
Oh, okay, fair
Complete.
enough. Chalo, from where you sit, are you observing the process currently? Are you seeing red flags? You know, when you're hearing allegations of bribery, what goes through your head as the tribunal?
Well, the concern of the tribunal, Asha, is pure and simply to do justice to the parties that come before it. Certainly, we cannot pretend that we will not hear allegations of this kind flying during this period of time. But we are in the nature of a court.
But I mean, does it make you feel like you might have a big job coming your way?
Well, certainly, I think there is a big job coming our way because Kenyans are excited about the opportunity to serve as elected leaders. I'm told there is a lot more excitement at the county level even than at the national level. Yeah. And therefore, we do expect quite a deluge of disputes to come up from there. But being in the nature of a court, we cannot take cognizance of what we hear in the media. We wait and deal with the issues that are presented to us in court.
Dunstan, hearing what the parties are saying, are you convinced that the process is going well?
What I'm convinced Jubilee has is a big machine, according to my good friend here, because they raised money from a smart card that they knew very well that they are not going to use. They collected huge amounts of money. By design, they knew that that was a rip-off. Number two, we are hearing ODM say that they are going to do an election that is fair, transparent, accountable, and that will represent the will of the people. Over 800 people have been given direct nominations. Is that fairness? Is that the type of political party that we fund as citizens of this nation? Number two, to my good friend at Jubilee, they have said that they will conduct elections in every polling station in this country, a task that even scares the IEBC. With the state resources, with the state organs, with the whole country coming to a standstill, it scares the IEBC. Is it that is just the talk of politicians and political parties?
Thank you, Dunstan. Hold that thought.
The IEBC is scared.
All right, hold that thought. Thank you. Those are critical questions. Yes. When we return, second leg of this interview, let's discuss those issues. The funding, the concerns that Dunstan is bringing up. So let's take a short breather, please.
Thank you.
Karibuni.
Thank you, Asha.
You need to tell